Okay, so let's just briefly go over task 12 or week 12, task 2A. So here what I want you to realize is that I've basically given you a form to use, but we're going to call it a template since I'm not giving you a paper version of this. But I want you to think of this as more as an activity. This is not so much, I mean, there's a writing component to it, but it's not like I want a coherent paragraph. I don't want an essay. I want to make sure that you're not approaching that in this way. You will be doing some writing or typing, but I want you to think of this as more of a form or an activity that you're completing. I still am going to grade it using the rubric that I've been using to grade your writing submissions, but of course I will be keeping in mind the context of this particular activity. So do not stress yourself out or approach this as an essay or even a coherent paragraph. It's not that at all. It's more kind of some notes, and let's just get into that. Okay, so now that we've got that, I'm assuming that you've already read this, but if you haven't, you are basically going to do what is conceptual work. Okay, this is a conceptual activity where you're going to be focusing in on the concepts of certainty, what it means to be certain about something, or certainty, establishing something, and truth. We are focusing on these three concepts because they were in the conclusion for something that you argued for, and that had to do with whether or not you thought it was possible to establish with absolute certainty the truth of any claims made by the Trump administration. And so those were really important terms. So it's important to step back and reflect and think about them. So the way that you're going to do this then is you are going to use this template. So maybe you can copy and paste this, or you can just type this out. But this is exactly how I want you to lay out your answer. I want you to put certainty in bold, and I want you to put quotation marks around it. If we were doing concept triangles for this, we would have certainty in the bottom left corner of the triangle with the word certainty in quotation marks. And again, if we were doing the triangle for this, we would then have some definitions at the top. We wouldn't actually have definition 1 and 2 because I'm interested in your informed concept of certainty and these other terms. So as you can see, you are to cite 2 definitions, and that's what it says in the bullets. I'm just going over verbally what you read in the bullets. So you have to cite a definition from a dictionary. So you'll give me definition 1, and you do not need to use quotation marks because I know and you know that that's what you're doing. If this was in paragraph form or an essay, you would have to put quotation marks around the definitions, but you won't have to do that here. And then you immediately give me the internet link that you used to get the definition from. Okay, as you're picking the definition, I want you to keep in mind what it is that you read in task 1 for this week. So make sure you've done task 1 first, a Learn Smart assignment, which introduces you to some core concepts and questions in epistemology. So as you're looking up certainty, find definitions that seem to somehow connect or be informative in you understanding what you read. So you give me 2 definitions. And then I want you to use those definitions and your own thoughts to come up with your own original or unique definition. So show me that you're incorporating ideas from both definitions in a way that is unique for you. Okay, so you can include your own opinion in this, but it needs to come off as an informed definition. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing with what it means to establish something in truth. As I state in the bullets, do not use any version of the word that you're trying to define in the definition itself. So when you give me definitions for certainty, do not use any version of the word certainty. I shouldn't see certain or certainly, right? So I shouldn't see that for definition 1, 2, or your own definition. When you give me the definition for establish, nowhere in the definitions, 1 or 2, or your own, should I see any version like establishing, established, establishment, same thing. Same thing with truth. I should not see any version of that word in any definitions, including your own. One thing I do want to stress one more time is that when I read this part, I should get a sense that you are really trying to, 1, look for definitions that had some bearing or some connectivity to the reading you did for this week, but I also want to see that you are trying to create a unique definition or one that shows attention to what is in here. Okay, so that's all you have to do. When you do give me your definition, you still have to use good syntax. I have to be able to follow the wording of your definition. You do not need to give it to me in the form of a complete sentence, but there still needs to be good syntax in it. So that's all you're doing. This is purely Conceptual. We're thinking about these words, the meaning of the words, and you're thinking and refining and developing your own better understanding of what these words mean. Okay, so that's all I've got for you on that, and that's it.